afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from. This is STEM Radio Vision, and this is the CONFAB, where we discuss top political issues. Once again, welcome to the show, the CONFAB. This afternoon on the CONFAB, I am Chidima Abel, but I won't be doing this alone. I have important public analyst with me in the studio that will be dissecting today's topic with us. But before we go there, today's conversation cuts across three critical pillars of our national life: how we manage public money, how we safeguard lives in our airspace, and how we honor the sacrifices of those who defend our nation. So this morning we are not just reporting the news, we are asking deeper questions. Are we building systems that last? Are we protecting lives effectively? And are we caring enough for those who have given everything for our country, Nigeria? Stay with us as we unpack these issues clearly, honestly, and in public interest. So like I said, I have two important analysts with me in the studio. I have by my left is
Osundara Adebayo.
Osundara. You're welcome this morning.
Thank you, Chidima.
Okay, I also have by my right hand.
Ohunayo Ajiboye.
Welcome to the show this afternoon already. Okay, this is afternoon already here in Nigeria, but I know that our viewers, there's some of you watching from different countries. So welcome again to the show, The CONFAB. Like I said, we have three interesting topics we'll be looking at this afternoon. We have states, local government repay 547.5 billion bank debts. State and local government repay 547.5 billion naira bank debt. This is one of the stories that will be topping the list. Away from that, we have another one. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has reshuffled critical directors in the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. That's the second topic we'll be looking at. Another one is Army support families of foreign soldiers with Christmas gifts. Army support families of fallen soldiers with Christmas gifts. Now let's just go straight to the very first story here about the state and local government repaying 547.5 billion naira bank debt. We saw here in the news that state and local government councils reduce their bank borrowings. Wow, this is interesting, by about 547.52 billion naira in just 1 year, as federation accounts inflows surge, according to findings by The Punch. And we also have figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria's latest quarterly statistical bulletin, revealing that the banking sector's claims on a state and local government fell from 2.68 trillion naira in June 2024 to 2.1 trillion naira in June. Now, let me just explain this. This means that state and local government councils across Nigeria have significantly reduced the amount of money they owe banks over the past year. This happened as more money flowed into the federation account, giving subnational government better access to funds, the state and the local government. According to this findings by The Punch from the Central Bank of Nigeria's quarterly statistical bulletin, banks' loans to state and local government dropped from 2.6 trillion naira in June to 2.1 trillion naira in June 2025. So now this means they paid back about 547 billion naira within 1 year, a reduction of roughly 20%. The data also shows a similar trend in the last year, that's 2024. So in simple terms, state and local government are borrowing less and paying back more. So I want to go to you now, Honorable Osundara Adebayo. In one sentence, because viewers right now are watching, I know that they must have mixed feelings. Wow, 547 billion naira. This might sound very interesting in their ear, that we are no longer, local government and states are borrowing less and even paying more, the one they borrowed. This might sound interesting. So going over to you now, Honorable Osundara Adebayo. In one sentence, how would you summarize? How would you summarize what this development means for Nigeria's economy?
Thank you, Chidima. If I have to go by that report, I think it's a good news. It's a good news for us as a nation. It means we are becoming self-reliant. It means we are thinking, we are starting to think deep and start to know that freebies comes to an end at a time. So it means that as a responsible nation, we are beginning to develop our systems. Thank you.
Okay, now, but do you think, are there risks if states rely too much on federation account inflows instead of growing their own internal revenue now? I mean, do you think there are risks if states rely too much, whether states or local government, if they rely too much on federation account inflows instead of growing their own internal revenue?
Absolutely, absolutely. There is no free lunch anywhere. Somebody must have paid for it. So if you are relying, and thankfully we have the new taxation law. It's going to dawn on everyone very soon, this coming year, that you get from the federation what you're able to generate. So if you are the type that you don't take your economy seriously, and thankfully the entire state of the nation are blessed with one thing or the other. But we have lazy people in government who don't think deep, who are surrounded by lazy people also, who are surrounded by laymen who doesn't have the expertise, the technical know-how to drive a system for profitability. So it's important that now they will begin to think about it, because if your state is generating 100 naira to the federation account, it means you'll be getting something in that relation to it. So it's not that you now sit down and be thinking you are going to Abuja to go and share some money. No, it's ending very soon. And so it means that the new thinking now is that for every state, you begin to think people who have the capacity to drive your state, people who have the capacity to grow your state, people who have the capacity to make your state develop, or else you just be lagging behind, and only God knows Somalia might be better. I'm sorry if I'm using a wrongful word. But then it's important that we know that it's a dangerous thing to depend on federal allocation. It's high time that we start thinking inward, and the state begin to generate internal revenue that is sufficient enough. Let me give you a typical example. For Lagos State now, Lagos is so self-sufficient to the extent that they can drive their system without looking at the federal. At some time, they were even borrowing, dashing out money to other states in troubles. You know, that's to tell you that the one at a time had a governor who could think right, who has a deep thinking, who built a system, and who grew the economy to the extent that the subsequent one were just building on it. That's the set of people we need in this country. That's how we can move from underdeveloped to developed nations. Do you understand? So it's important that we start thinking right and we start doing right. Thank you.
Okay, coming over to you now, Ajiboye Ohunayo.
All right.
Do you have a different view from what Honorable Osundara just said?
No, I don't really have a different view. I believe it's right because if you look at it from inception, the states have always been heavily dependent on the oil revenue coming from the federal government. So now that we are getting to that state where there will no more be that dependence or reliance on such. So every state now has to sit up, every state has to take responsibility. And I feel that that's the best thing, because the only way to drive subnational economy is to improve on our own structure. It has to be internal.
Okay.
No more reliance on the federal government. So definitely I agree with him.
Okay, coming to that about relying on the state, by the state, you understand. So, Honorable Osundara, what do you think that the state government can do to maintain this positive momentum? We all have agreed that it is a welcome development. So what can the state government do now in order to maintain this positive momentum?
It's just to cut unnecessary spending.
Exactly.
It's just to cut all these loopholes everywhere and there. They should cut it and think straight and be more positive and be more. They should grow the economy the more, because they still have. For example, you see, when we talk about loan, the problem about loan is that people doesn't know that loan comes with its own conditions, and unfortunately, these conditions are not known to the citizen. It's only the government, but because the government just need money, we have leaders who are just after the money. And so, and if I begin to explain the thinking behind loan, we might not, maybe let me say it's not discussion for today. If for a sensible government, you know that borrowing sometimes does not develop your nation. It does not develop your state. You have other things you can do to get your state to its feet. And so if we begin to have leaders who are very critical in thinking, who are strategic in thinking, you see that things will turn around. You see, it's not a rocket science to develop anything. All you need is political will.
Wow.
All you need is political will, but we have a set of leaders who feel, oh, they are okay already, they don't care. Let me share a short story with you. I once had somebody who was a vice chairman of a local government.
Okay.
And he called me to visit him at a time. And I went to visit him and I told him, the road to your house is not, as a vice chairman of the local government, you'll be able to tie this road and let people feel the benefit of your presence in this community. He said, why am I talking like that? I said, I'm telling you the obvious. He said, no. He said, how many people have died on this road?
Oh, my goodness.
There is no statistics of that. He said, if nobody has died on this road and he do the road, they would not appreciate it. You can see the thinking of somebody in power. He's expecting life to be lost before you can imagine. Is that the kind of people that you think they will have the technical know-how, the deep thinking to grow an economy? Somebody that is waiting for his own fellow human being to die before a road is started, ordinary road, that you not use your personal money to do. Do you understand that? So it's all about our thinking. It's all about the political will. So what they need to do is simple. Let's have the right leaders at every corners of our governance. And then let them cut all the unnecessary expenditure. The capital, we have the overhead, we have the capital part of the budget. Let them increase that of the capital and reduce unnecessary expenditure and all these little leaks. Because, for example, the system is so porous that anybody can steal anything at any time. And that's why somebody will just transfer, somebody will tell you that a snake swallow 500 million. As if I'm watching a cartoon. Do you understand? It's the same system. A civil servant. Do you understand? So it's important. If the government can block all that, there will be more than enough money. One of our governors in the southwest of blessed memory said, at a time, they didn't want him to be governor, but destiny brought him to that seat. And his entire town did not like him. But whenever I come in weekend, we tell them, we say, there's money in government. Stop all this thing you are doing with me. Let's spend this money together. It's to tell you that if our leader will be sincere, there is money in government. Let's use it and better the lives of our citizens. Thank you.
So in a nutshell, it's having the right mindset.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ohunayo, do you have another thing to add to what Honorable has just said?
Well, I would just like to list out some of the things that I believe the state governments can do. He has mentioned it starts with the right mindset, because if there's no will to work, then you can, no matter how many lists you give, it's not going to, if they're not willing to work, they're not going to follow the list. But these are the things I believe the state government can do. One, grow the IGR, that's the internal generated revenue. And how do they do that? As you have suggested, by cutting waste. By cutting waste, also by investing in productive infrastructure, not just infrastructure. It has to be productive. There are infrastructures now, if you go to Lagos, there are infrastructures that pay for themselves. So we need right-thinking people at the helms of affairs right now. They have to think, what infrastructure do we invest in that can, bring in funds, that can bring in revenues, that can pay for its own maintenance by itself. And that's one of the things they need to do. Another thing we need to understand is that we need transparency with regards to budgets, how much is coming in, how much is being spent, what is it being spent on. That transparency is also important, because by the time you have the infrastructure that is paying for itself, that's generating revenue, by the time you have all the investments flowing in, and there's no transparency, that means that the system has not changed. It's still going to be the same old system where people can steal, where people can withdraw money from the government in the name of bogus projects, because there's no transparency. Nobody knows what's coming in, nobody knows what's going out. So those are the things I feel the state governments can do.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, moving ahead to the next story here. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has reshuffled critical directors in the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority following rumors of serious corrupt practices by key officers of the aviation regulatory agency. The reshuffle of the senior officers may not be unconnected with allegations of inefficiency and compromised oversight in the agency's Directorate of Airworthiness Standards. This comes as the Nigeria Safety Investigation Board on December 14, 2025 and December 16, 2025 respectively issued report indicating major aircraft incidents involving unscheduled aircraft. Now let me come to Honorable. You know, there are rumors of serious corrupt practices within the agency. From your understanding, how credible are these allegations? We've been hearing series of allegations like this. So how serious, how credible are these allegations?
Thank you, Chidima. In every rumor, there is element of truth. And there is no smoke without fire. So however it is, our system is so porous that it allows anything. So I don't know how credible that information is. I don't know the source. But then, it's something that has been happening. Some of us have been hearing this thing since we are teenagers. And so it's pathetic that the same thing still keep happening. Nothing is being done. Sometimes even when you see them walk to the agencies that deal with all sorts of things, you still see them walk out
Free.
not free, nothing, no consequence, nothing. Which country, which state, which family, which organization thrives when there is no consequences for ill actions and reward for good actions? The reward system is poor. The system is so bastardized that anybody does whatever he wants at any time, and then it goes scot-free. And our law also permitted that even when you get to the law court, once you claim you are not healthy, they just free you to go and they just grant you bail. You go and take care of your health. From there, you are nowhere to be found. All these things should stop. We have children who are watching us. If you are serious about a sustainable future, sometimes I ask our leaders, sometimes I ask them, are they building another country for us somewhere that we are not aware that they want to surprise us with? Because the practices they are engaging in are not something that is sustainable, that is reasonable. Let me share a short story with you. I once, a family friend of mine who is an elderly person, at the time was on the board of a screening board to admit some students to one private university. I won't mention that private university so that because they didn't pay for advert. So now, a young guy came and they asked him, what course do you want to study? He said he wants to study accounting. They said, why? He said because he wants to learn how to steal.
Oh my goodness.
What do you mean? You want to learn how to steal? And they started insulting him, calling him names. This my very old person told them to stop and asked him why. Why did he want to study that to steal? You already know why you want to, but why that mindset? He said, thank you, sir. Where is it coming from? He said, thank you, sir. He said they should follow him to outside. They followed him. He said, look at that man at that other side. He said, okay, what about him? He said, that's my father. He said, he brought me here for this interview. He retired as a director. He never steal a penny. But government never appreciated him. He said their neighbors that were stealing, they were living larger. They were traveling abroad. They were doing, he said, if this is what being sincere, having integrity means, he doesn't want to have it.
Oh my goodness.
Like, prefer to steal like others, to live a good life. Because his father that didn't steal, he said, if not for the sake of the mother, he's not giving them any heritage. His honesty, his sincerity earns him nothing. So he said, so he wants to study accounting so that he will now steal the thing that his father could not steal. Because the others that were stealing, that were their neighbors, nothing happened to them. So what am I saying is that all these things happening are building the mindset of our young people. So if we continue in this way, how then do we have a sustainable future? So it's terrible. It's terrible. It's not something. It's not something that one will say and be happy about. Especially if you have a good mindset towards the development of this country. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I will still like to come to you again before I come back to Ajiboye. Now, in your view, is reshuffling officials enough to address rooted problems like corruption?
That's a cosmetic approach.
Cosmetic approach. So
That's
what do you mean by cosmetic approach?
Yes, cosmetic approach is that I'm not beautiful. I'm putting on makeups. When I sweat, the makeup will go and my ugliness will come out to the public. So it's as simple as that. So if I need to look, why don't I go for plastic surgery? Or better still, eat healthy. Do you understand? Use a good soap. Or I mean, even the best medicine is food. Do you get? So all these things are just cosmetic. And again, the people that have committed this crime, what have you used them as a scapegoat? What punishment did you mete out to them?
To serve as
To serve as a strong statement to anybody that wants to engage in such in the future. Nothing. Just reshuffle that you to come and benefit. They just remove you from there and say another person, because the person you are removing away, nothing will happen. Some you even go to plead bargain. I say, how much did I steal? I steal 600 million. Okay, let me draw 400 and let me keep 200. Plead bargain. What system engages in such things and expects development? All I need to do is steal more and enter plea bargain and remain some to my pocket and walk free. So it's pathetic.
Okay, now talking about accountability, Ohunayo, what additional steps do you think the government should take to strengthen oversight and accountability?
Well, the first thing I'm going to ask is the government itself accountable? Is the government accountable to the people, first of all? I mean, like he said most of the things the governments do in such cases are always cosmetic. And the one thing about accountability is that it has to be visible. It must not be cosmetic. So is the government itself, is it accountable? Do we have transparency between the government and the public? Because when such things happen, what we always hear is, there are bodies in charge of investigating such rumors and such accusations. And then the people accused, you hear that they were invited. That's what we hear. They were invited for investigations, and that's the end of the story. So in that case, can we actually call the government accountable? Because the first thing the government needs to do is to be accountable. Now, when the government is accountable and there is visibility, there's transparency between the government and the public. And one of the ways to assure this visibility is, one, independent audits. No more government investigating themselves. No more public officials investigating themselves. It's more of the same. It's the same. You can't ask a thief to investigate a thief, so to say. Let me use the word allegedly. You can't allegedly ask a thief to investigate another thief. They are both cut from the same clothes. They will protect each other. So we need independent audits. That means they have to bring in an outside audit their accounts. No pressure, no interference from the government whatsoever. Another thing that we need is public disciplinary actions. No more private settlements. I hope you understand what I'm saying. No more private settlements. Okay. No more, the government coming out and saying this person has been dealt with. We want to see action. We want to see them being persecuted in court. We want the case publicized as much as possible.
So you're saying if the government said we have punished them, they should show to the public.
They should show to the public. I mean, look at look at the Communist Republic of China. Do you think there's no corruption in China? The truth of the matter is, where there are humans, there will be corruption. Where you have good people, you have bad people. It's not one without the other. But when there's punishments, when people know that your actions are accountable, everyone will sit up. In China, if you are caught and it is proven beyond reasonable doubt that you have engaged in corrupt practices, either embezzlement or abuse of power or abuse of position, it is the death penalty straight. Now, that will make government officials sit up with the proper enforcement. It's one thing to have laws is another thing to enforce it. So finally, we need proper enforcement. And in these cases, we need protection for whistleblowers. Because what I've noticed about Nigeria is whistleblowers that expose corruptions are not always protected. They are not always protected for the fallout. And you know, as when you have patriotic citizens who want to expose corrupt practices, but they are scared for their lives. They are afraid of retaliation, because we've seen when a public or civil servant, let me use the word civil servant or public officer, you know, has committed a crime, has broken the law, and they are exposed by a member of the public. What happens usually is when this public official has received their pat on the back from the government that's investigating themselves, that official will now retaliate on the person that exposed them. We need to do better. There has to be laws in place and strict enforcement of these laws to protect any whistleblower that exposes corruption. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We now be moving to the very last story making the list this morning. Army supports families of fallen soldiers with Christmas gifts. General Ahmed Balogun of the Nigerian Army in Benin has said that the distribution of Christmas food and monetary gifts to families of fallen officers was aimed at expressing gratitude. He noted that the gift served as a reminder of the widows of fallen soldiers that the Nigerian Army had not forgotten the sacrifices of their late husbands made in defense of their fatherland. Recall that Balogun, commander of the brigade in Benin, had on Friday hosted a luncheon for widows and children of officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. The commander had, alongside Chief Medical Director of the Military Hospital in Benin, Paulina Abureme, presented the items to 50 widows and 6 magajias, leaders of soldiers' wives. Now, Honorable Adebayo, I would like to come back to you. You know, beyond the material support, what emotional, psychological impact do these gestures have on families of fallen soldiers? I mean, beyond the material support, what other emotional, psychological impact do these gestures have on families of fallen soldiers?
Well, thank you, Chidima. Thank goodness that we have Christmas. Because if you don't have time like this, nobody will remember them. It's pathetic that we have people sacrifice their life for this nation, and there is no system in place, a sustainable system to look after their loved ones. Even the ones that are retired, you see the way they are living their life, you wonder, what a country. Look at veterans in developed nations. The veterans, the war veterans in US, you see how they take care of them. Oftentimes, they always tell them, thank you for your service. That alone is enough. Knowing fully well that you are respected, your service is not just being taken for granted, and then there is a system that caters for you. It's enough for you to go out there, and they don't joke with their own citizen. They don't joke with it. And so I wonder how we treat ourselves in this country. Apart from government, even individuals. Imagine, thank God for Christmas, as I said. Maybe these people will not be. And is it 50 widows or widowers that we have? Do you understand? Is it 50? So it's pathetic. You see, things like this make me wonder if this country deserves any sacrifice. But then, we still have to remember there is no place like home. Whether it is appreciated or not, we keep giving our own sacrifice. And the universe will take record. And posterity will judge some of us. Because the thing is pathetic. I don't, you know, Chidima, I won't like to leave here saddened. Because this topic now is making me feel uncomfortable. Because how do you say you are attending to 50 widows? We know how many people that have died in Borno. We know how many people that have died in Sokoto. So are you telling us that they are just 50? And again, what system have you created to make sure that their loved one did not suffer? Let me just stop here. Because we are still in the festive period.
Okay.
I want to remain happy for myself, for the betterment of my mental health.
Okay,
Thank
but
you.
that will bring me to the next question. What role then should the wider society and government play in supporting families of fallen military personnel? What role should the wider society and government play in supporting families of fallen heroes?
For me, I think empathy.
Okay.
For the wider society, empathy plays a critical role. For individuals who has the capacity to create foundations, to create a sustainable service rendering opportunities, of course, they can reach out to these ones. All right, and also government must lead by example. Government must show that they are capable, they are sensible, they are reasonable. All right, so this will in turn build the kind of citizen that, because for example now, sometimes when I hear they kidnap teenagers and they were released, I first look at their mental health. You've damaged them to a point. And what's the system? What system are you bringing in place to rehabilitate? And these are the people that you will expect that they should show compassion or mercy to somebody who has just sacrificed his life for the country. It doesn't work that way. You see, when you are building something, when you are building a system, it has to be holistic. You don't face one side and leave the other. If you say that, okay, you have pains all over your body and you just pick the ear to treat, once that one is gone, the remaining, you still have the pains. So it's important that as humans, as citizens of this country, we begin to think beyond the box, outside the box, and see how we can create an environment. We have to show ourselves empathy. Empathy, even not only to the fallen heroes, to ourselves. How do I add value to my next neighbor? How do my next neighbor add value to me? It starts from there. But nowadays, all we see is that we have young and old people trying to take advantage of each other. They just want to take advantage. So how then do you expect such person to have an empathy mind, to show compassion? Somebody that is already thinking, oh, what can I get from this person, and run? Do you understand? So that's the mindset. And we are trying, and they call it, they target a beautiful word these days. They say the guy is smart, or the guy is smart. Is that what they call smartness? We are destroying a system and we call it smartness. No, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. What I think is empathy, and also the government should just lead by example. Let government also, because for example now, if you have a child, as a parent, you are not responsible to that child. Do you understand? You are not showing me that you are responsible to that child, and you expect me that I'm just a neighbor to you. You want me to be responsible to that child? It doesn't work that way. You have to be responsible first, and me, I will not compliment your act of being responsible. Do you understand? So, but you are not responsible to them. You treat them like they are just waste. You don't care about them. Then you expect me that as a citizen to not care, except God is touching my heart. And say, an angel came and tell me, Osundara, so person, go and touch the life of that person. Except that, I won't be interested. Those are the basic facts. And our elders, we usually say that the truth is bitter. So thank you, Chidima.
Thank you so much, Honorable Osundara Ajiboye. I can see you wanted to add one or two things.
Well, I believe that Honorable has said it all. He has said it all. See, the truth of the matter is, when we say charity begins at home now, we're not talking about the wider society. We are referring to the government. We are referring to the government. First of all, the government needs to sit up. These are our fallen heroes. These are their family. You can say you reach out to just 50 widows. 50. This battle against insecurity, against the insurgents in the north, has been going on for 2 decades now. 2 decades. And you're only reaching out to 50 widows. What are the parameters for choosing these widows? So there has to be a system in place. The system has to be sustainable. Because, okay, now, thank God there's Christmas, as I said. They reached out during Christmas. So what about during the New Year? What about Easter? What about when the children of these fallen veterans have grown up? What about their education? all this, there has to be a system in place. There has to be institutional support. It's not just to say we supported them today. They're on their own for the rest of the year. Until next year again. That's not sustainable. It's not going to right the wrongs. And then you have to look at these children. What would they grow up to be? A child that lost his father, the father sacrificed himself for the nation, and then the nation had nothing to offer. Access to education, zero. Access to good quality of life, zero. Access to the right materials, to the right training or mentorship that will bring this child up, to contribute to the society in the future, zero. What do you think that child will become, if not a menace to the same society? So that's why I said institutional support from the government is first needed before the society can chime in. Because there's only so much a private individual can do with their own resources. That's all I want to add.
Okay, thank you so much. For those that are just joining us, this is the CONFAB on Esteem Radio Vision. Do well to like, comment, and also share. Okay, I just want you to give in your parting remark, your closing remark. I will be starting with Ohunayo. What's your parting remark with respect to all what was discussed this morning on the CONFAB?
Well, with regards to everything we have discussed, from the first story to the second one, and finally to talking about the Nigerian Army reaching out to fallen veterans, the truth of the matter is you will see that there's a constant word that comes up: accountability. Accountability. The government needs to be accountable. The Nigerian government, from the federal level all the way down to the lowest parastatal, that's the local government. Accountability is paramount. And with regards, but focusing more on the last topic, we need to reinforce the message that Nigerians have to understand that a patriotic citizen should not be forgotten in the mud. Nigerians need to know that their country has their back. Be you a citizen or a military personnel. We need that assurance from the government that our government has our back. There's this assurance a U.S. citizen has wherever they go around the globe. They have that assurance that my government has got my back. If I get in trouble, they have my back. If I die in service to the nation, my family is safe. But in Nigeria, there's no expectancy of such. If you talk to military men, if you talk to these men who are on the field, who are fighting to protect the nation, to protect our sovereignty, to protect lives and properties, they don't have expectation. They don't want to die. They are not willing. That's why you see we talk about our military taking their operations half-assedly. It's not because they want to take it half-assedly. It's because many people are scared of just dying for no reason. They don't want to die for a cause that will not remember them. Okay. So the government has to reinforce and pass a message that the nation will stand behind those who defend it and that their families will not be left alone.
Thank you so much. Okay, now over to Honorable Osundara.
My colleague has said it all. Any addition will be a repetition.
No,
I just want to remind our people that the widows, they don't only eat on Christmas. They eat every other day. So it's important that we show that we are humans and that we display empathy. I'm not even talking about sympathy now. Empathy. Put them also into your shoe and see how it feels. So it's as simple as that. So for a nation to develop, we have to be holistic in our approach. If you are not holistic in our approach, the other parts will destroy whatever effort you are making. For example, I tell people, I'm a public health person, a community development expert. I tell people, if you see a child, a neighbor, or a child around you that did not go to school, or that maybe there is no support system for that child, and you look away, and you only focus on your own child, you are deceiving yourself. Because that child you look away from will not allow your own child to rest. You see, most of the time I tell people the reason why the Westerner keep helping us is because they cannot stop migration. But they feel they can reduce the burden of the disease by helping us. So you don't think that we get aids, we get grants because they are foolish. No. it's the same as a strategy to still defend their own people. That if we cannot stop migration, at least we can reduce the burden of disease that is coming to our people. So it's as simple as that. So what am I saying in essence is that we should watch our back for ourselves and be our brother's keepers, so that at the end of the day we could live in peace, and God will help us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my esteemed analyst. Thank you. I really appreciate for making yourselves available for this program. We look forward to having you again and again. Okay, to our esteemed viewers, thank you for staying with us, and remember to share, comment, and like. This program will still be coming your way again next week, Monday. Keep watching Esteemed Radio Vision, and we also want to show our appreciation to our able CEO in the person of Dike Michael Deboye Ashaolu for all what he's doing for the society and also for Esteemed Radio Vision. I still remain Chidima Abel. Keep watching Esteemed Radio Vision. Thank you.